Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Middleware Technologies. Today we'll be looking at how we can build a very basic application using the Python Flask web framework. So we'll try to uh, use the features of Flask and build a very basic application. Let me show you what exactly we are going to build in this video. So here is the application or web application that we are going to try to build using the features of Python Flask web framework. So it consists of the three features. We'll build the sign up page, which will accept the username and password to create the user, and then we will try to access the web application using the same credentials that we have used for sign up. And this is just a basic HTML or CSS related files with which I have created this web UI. So we will be looking at those HTML and CSS files for which the code is already available in my blog, and I'll be sharing those details. Okay. And let me show you the flow diagram also for this application. So here is the flow diagram for my application, wherein we'll be first building the index page from which we'll be able to access the sign up page and login page. So let's say user is a new user and he tries to access the sign up page, wherein he will create his user, and this details will be saved over here in this functionality. And once the user's details are saved, he'll be directed to the set data page or context, wherein he will be allowed to save his details into the portal. Okay, once that is done, he will be routed to look or take a view at his details. And there is another flow wherein we can redirect to the index page from the student data page, and from index page he can go to login page, wherein he can try to log in with the sign up credentials that he has created. And once he is logged in successfully, that authentication is done using the validate functionality. And once the user is validated, that user who has logged in, those details will be fetched and showed using the student data page. So this details will be the same details like he saved using the sign up page. Okay, so this is a very high level flow diagram which we'll be trying to implement using Flask in this video. Let us come back to my documentation. So here is the article that I have prepared for this demo, and I'm currently working on Fedora 37 workstation with Flask already installed, but we'll see how we can install it. So what is Flask? Okay, so Flask is basically a web framework that is provided that is based on the Python language, which we can use to build the web applications. Okay, but Python Flask is also a wrapper around this WSGI library. So this library basically provides the utilities to actually create a WSGI web application. So basically these utilities will cater to the request of a web application and try to and this utility also provides a development server which we can utilize to test our web application or launch our web application. Okay, but using these utilities is a bit complicated, so due to which Flask has made it easier by wrapping its functionality and making it in a structured format. Okay, so that is why we are going to see how we can use Flask to build a web application. And within Flask like we are also provided with a development server which is based on Vexus library, and we'll be using the development server to test our web application. Okay, so as I said, like we are going to build a very basic Flask application using some of the core features of this. So these are the core features that we are going to see, like how we can utilize in this application. Okay, so the first one is application discovery. Application discovery is very so it basically deals with how we can name our application so that it will be discovered automatically. In Flask, the application can be named with any naming convention or any file name, but if we are going to use the app.py file name, we'll be able to launch the application without providing the application name. That we are going to see how it is done. Okay, and the other features that we are going to use over here is so every web application has a request routing feature, wherein when a request comes to a particular context, it will be redirected to a function or handler which supports that context. So this feature also we are going to see using the HTTP routing request. And the third one is URL building. URL building is basically like we know, like we have forms or redirect references to the links, wherein we want to like transfer or move from one page to other page. Okay, but if we are going to hard code the URLs, it will be difficult for us to like basically change those URLs at a later point of time, which will be very cumbersome. Okay, so in order to avoid that one, the Flask provides us with URL building features, wherein a particular functionality can be called by automatically building the URL for that function. So that is what URL building is all about. So we'll be looking at those things also in this video. And the fourth one is HTTP methods. So every request can be of a different type. Basically, a request, if you know about the web application concepts, a request can be of any type of method, like get, post, delete, put. So these are some of the methods that are supported. So we'll try to see like how we can use the get and post request functionality in this video. And the fifth one is static files. So we'll see like how we can load the static HTML and CSS files instead of hard coding them in the web application. Instead of hard coding them in the web application in the output. Okay, so that way we will be using the static files. And the sixth one is rendering templates. So it is similar to static files, but static files are files which we are going to use as it is, but templates are like files which are similar to like basically the HTML files or JavaScript files, but we are going to use the Jinja templating engine functionality or features, with which we will be able to dynamically update the content of that HTML, CSS or JavaScript file in order to load our templates with the appropriate data. So that's where the rendering template will be utilized. And the last one is access request data. So finally, like every web application deals with some kind of data which we need to basically capture it using the request object. So we'll be seeing how we can capture the request data and try to process that one and send it as a response back to the web application. So these are some of the features that we are going to see in this very basic web application that we are going to build in this video. So without wasting time, let us get started with our web application building procedure. Okay, so as a first step, as I said, like we need to install the Python Flask web framework. Okay, you can install it in a virtual environment if you're comfortable, but otherwise, like it is, if you're just doing it for the learning purpose, you can just install it on your machine directly. So let me go into my shell. So here you can so I'm going to use this student data 3 as my core folder. So we will just install Flask using pip install Flask. So this is going to install the required pip packages for you in your environment. So as I said, like I'm not going to into the details of virtual environment and all those things, because that is something if you are trying to build multiple applications on your machine and you want to segregate all the libraries for the set for those specific applications separately. So in that case, you can use virtual environment and try to install your Flask in those virtual environment. For that, you can refer to the Flask documentation, which clearly mentions how we can do that using Python. Okay, now let us go into our second step. So here, like what we are going to do is we are going to prepare a skeleton, which will basically be our web application files, which we are going to build step by step in our later steps. Okay, so our core application file will be app.py, which will be present in our the root folder, that is student data. In my case, like I'm trying to show you here with student data 3. Okay, so let us create that file app.py. Okay, and the other two folders will be static, which will hold the static content of the application, and templates, which will be holding the templates for the for this application. Okay, so let us create our two folders, that is static, and the other folder, that is templates. Okay, and in static we have signup.css and w3.css. so let me create those files also. w3.css and signup.css, and in templates file, like we will be having all this HTML files. So we'll be creating so let me create those for you right away, so it doesn't confuse us. Index.html file, so this will be our landing page, and this will be our login page. This will be our page wherein we will be trying to capture more details about the user or the student, and this will be our sign up page, and this is the page which will show the details about the student, basically like getting the details about the student. Okay, so this is the very basic so let me close all these files. Structure that we are going to so this is the very basic structure that we are going to use in order to build our Flask web application. Okay, so now let us go into our step 3, that is creating the skeleton function in app.py. Okay, so our core file will be app.py, which will be our application that we are going to launch. Okay, so here, like we are going to create some of the functions. So let me first copy this code, and I'll try to explain you what exactly it will be doing. So let us save this in app.py. Okay, so the first line is basically importing the Flask class. Okay, so Flask class is the base class with which we are going to create instances of our Flask web applications. Okay, So here you can see, like, we are creating an instance of that Flask class and passing the name. So this name is going to be the root folder in which we have created this app.py file, and we are going to pass that instance object that we have created using the Flask to refer it using the app. So this is going to be our application instance that we are going to basically launch using a web server. Okay, and here, like, you can see there are multiple functions. Okay, so these are very basic functions. Okay, definition index, it will return index page. Okay, and definition like sign up, which will return the sign up page. This is definition for login, which will return the login page. This will be the definition for validate. Here it will be basically used to like authenticate the user credentials. Okay, and this is set data definition, which is going to save the data for the student, and this is save user definition, which is going to save the user profile. So these are very basic functions that we build using the Python language. But if you see every definition, there is a line above that which basically refers to our app instance. Okay, so whenever there is a request comes to that app instance using this context, okay, so that is basically called route. So whenever there is a request comes to this app instance using this context, it is going to basically route it to the following definition or the functionality which will cater to that context request. So this is similar way, like we have defined multiple contexts. So sign up page will be referred using the sign up context, login page will be referred using the login context, and validate functionality or will be called using the validate route request. Okay, and here additionally you see the method post has been explicitly defined. So by default, if you do not provide any method or the type of request that we are going to handle using this function, it will be by default get request. So it is going to be a get request wherein you will send the request and it will respond you with a resource from the web server. So that is basically a get request. But if you want to send some data in the type of form, like, it should be a post request. So in this post request, so it will accept the data and it will try to process that and return you a response. So this is where the get and post request differ. So in this, the three functionalities, like validate basically offer authentication, and student set data is basically to save the user's student data, and the save user context, it is basically to save the user profile. These three are basically going to get some input from the user and say do processing and send a response using the post request. Okay, so this is very basic application that we are going to use and try to build in this video. So let me try to launch this very basic application. Okay, so for this, what we are going to do is we are going to utilize the Flask command line utility and pass the option run. So this is as simple as this we can use to launch our application, but your name should be app.py. Okay, so let's say if you are so let me run this one. So this is going to launch our application, so on localhost with port 5000. Okay, so let me copy this one and let me open my browser and try to launch. So you can see it has provided the index page for /context. So let me go for sign up page. It has provided the sign up page. Okay, so let me go for login page, login context. So it has sent a response login page. So these responses that you see are basically the return string that we are sending it from the definition. Okay, So we have seen index page, which sent index page as a string response. We have seen route sign up page, which has sent the sign up page response, and we have seen login page, which has sent the login page response. And here, like validate student set data and save user are going to be post requests. So we will see like how once we implement those functionalities based by setting some kind of a form to those functions. Okay, so we'll see them later on. But so let me show you another way of launching this application. So let's say like if you are going to rename it to something other than app, so let's say student.py. okay, so if you are going to run it in a similar way, it is not going to launch it. Okay, it says it could not launch your Flask application. Okay, you need to pass the app name or the option and provide the name of the app, that is in this case student, without the .py name. Okay, and then you can use the run option. Okay, so this way like you can launch your application, and now it is the same application that has launched which we have launched previously with app.py. okay, so this is how the application will be automatically discovered based on the name which you are going to provide it to your core application file. So for simplicity, like I'm going to name my application as app.py, and we are going to launch it using the Flask run, which will be very simple for us to do. Okay, so now we have seen like the skeleton like which we are going to build for our application using the app.py. okay, so let me go into my documentation again. Okay, now let us so we have seen all this, like we have seen all the index page, sign up page and login page, and how they look when we launch them. So it's basically the route decorator that is doing the job for us by looking for that constant, filtering that context and sending it to the appropriate function or definition. Okay, now let us try to go to our step 4, that is creating our index file. So index page is our base page or the landing page from which we are going to call the sign up page and the login page and all their functionalities. Okay, so in order to create our index file, so we can do it this way also. Like we can just go to our return functionality, and here like you can just do the HTML formatting here, the HTML page that we create using the HTML syntax. Like you can do that similar page creation using here in the function definition itself, and launch the application. Okay, but so you see it has provided us the H2 response, so it is bold. Okay, but this is not going to be useful if we want to build a very large application. So let's say if your index page is very huge, it's not good idea to send create your index page in the function itself. Okay, there must be some way like we can leverage some kind of feature wherein we can separate this HTML files content to be separate from the main core application. Okay, so that is where the templates feature come in. Okay, so here like we have created the templates and index.html file. So here we are going to put up our HTML content for the index page. So let me copy this one. Okay, now let us try to rerun our Flask application. Okay, now let us go into our Firefox and try to launch this one. Okay, so it has not changed anything. Why? Okay, so we have missed out to do one more thing. So once you create the index.html file, there must be some way to refer to that template file. Okay, so that template file will be sent in a response to the request. Okay, so in our application, like, so let's say like we are going to launch our index.html file using the context slash. Right now it is sending the h2 content of index page, but here like we need to pass somehow we need to load the index.html file from the templates folder and send it as a response into to our request. So for that, what we need to do is we need to use some another feature of Flask, that is rendering templates. Okay, so which we are going to do using render underscore template. Okay, so here like we need to import the render underscore template from Flask. So we are going to copy this one and update our application app.py with that one, and here like now we are going to, instead of returning the h2 content, like we are going to return the rendered template. Okay, so we are going to use render template and we are going to render the index.html file, and let us name this as index for this template. Okay, so now if you launch your application and reload your root page or the index.html page, so this is the index page that we are going to get in the response. So we have built our index page, and this is going to be our references to our sign up page, which is right now the same login page, and about is basically it is referring to this content. Okay, now let us go into our documentation, and we have seen like how we have changed our index page using relaunching our application. Now let us go into our step 5, that is creating the sign up page. Okay, this is going to be the same way we have done the sign up the index page. So we're going to copy the content of signup.html page and save it in signup.html page. Okay, and here like you can see this sign up page basically it accepts username, password, and it verifies the password and then does the sign up. Okay, and we are going to send this data, the username and password data, to the save user context. Okay, and the save user context is going to save our user profile. Okay, so let us see like how it is done. So we have created our sign up page, and let us try to render the template. So sign up page is is supported by the sign up functionality, so this definition. So here like we are going to return the signup.html page as we did for index.html page. So here like let me rename the template to signup.html file, and we are going to name this one as signup. Okay, now let us try to launch our application again, and let us go into our browser and reload our sign up page. So here you can see the response has changed. Like it now shows that form which will accept our username password and do the sign up. Okay. Now similarly, so we have seen how we have updated the index.html definition, definition, and sign up definition. Now let us create our login page in a similar fashion, wherein we will be copying the login.html content using the into the template login.html file which we have created. So this one we are going to copy, and similarly in the app.py under the login functionality, that is the definition, we going to change this return content to that template. Login, and this is going to be login name. Now let us try to reload our application, and now let us go to login page. It will be now showing the login.html file. Okay, it will accept the login name, username, and password. Okay, so now we have our landing page, the sign up page, and the login page ready. Okay, now the next thing that we are going to do is let me go into my next step, that is building URLs dynamically. Okay, so now that we have created our sign up page, login page, and index page, there is one thing that I wanted to show you in the base page or index.html page. We are referring to our functionalities using the context. Okay, so let's say if I want to call the sign up functionality in the app.py, so the context should be /sign up. Okay, so I'm hard coding that /sign up over here. Okay, so let's say at some point I want to change the name of that page. Okay, the functionality which we are going to call. So we need to update it over here, and also we need to update it wherever we are going to refer that this context. Okay, so that will be a bit cumbersome, due to which it is not advisable to hard code your context references in the HTML file by using their names. Okay, rather we will be doing a way wherein, so we will be defining the context over here manually, but this reference we are going to dynamically load using the URL underscore for function. Okay, so for that what we need to do is, instead of hard coding the context, we are going to use this URL underscore for functionality to dynamically prepare our URL. Okay, so here so I'm going to use this URL underscores for sign up, and for this login reference, I'm going to use URL underscore for login. Okay, and the third one is going to be same. We're not going to change that one. So now that we have our URL underscore for, so let us but still we need to update something. Okay, still we need to update something that is there in the login.html file. So here also, if you see, we are calling the /validate. So instead of that, we will be so first is we have updated the index.html file. So next, let us try to update the signup.html file. So let me go into the signup.html file, which has save user context. So instead of save user, like we are going to use the URL underscore for save. Okay, save this one, and now let us go into our third page, that is login.html file, and update the action to dynamically build the context. Okay, so login, let us go into our login and update the action to dynamically create the context. So now let us save this and try to reload our application. And now let us try to load our base page, that is index.html file, and click on sign up. It is going to route to the signup.html file. Login, it is going to route to login.html file. So here the advantage that we have right now is, in our HTML files, like we are not referring to the context URL by mentioning it manually, but we are going to build that using the URL underscore for that function. So let's say the function is validate, or the function is sign up, or the function is index. So we are going to get that URL, the context, dynamically using this functionality. Now let us go into our documentation again. So we have updated our login, index and sign up page to dynamically build the URL and refer to that in the template files. Okay, now let us try to go into our next step, that is update our save user data. Okay, so basically when user is accessing the application for the first time, it is going to do sign up with our application. But once the sign up is done, that details of the user, like the username and the password, need to be stored. So for that, what exactly we are doing is, in app.py, instead of using a database, I am using this dictionary, which will be acting as my database in order to store the user profile and user data. Okay, so that we'll be seeing further, like how we are going to implement that one. But so we'll be using this dictionary in place of our database in order to store our data for the time as the application is launched. But this is not going to be persistent data, because the data will be lost when we are going to stop our application. Okay, so here, like what we are going to do is, we are going to update our save user function, or the context function, using this code. Okay, so let me copy this one, and instead of returning the save user, like we are going to do this processing, wherein if the method is post, okay, we are sending a form. From that form, we are going to capture the username, new password, and the repeated password. So this is, I'm just pasting it, so we know, like we are actually capturing those details. If the new password is same as the repeated password, we can create the user. Okay, so here, like we are going to create a user key with in that key, like we are going to save the details about that user. Okay, so in that user key, like we are going to save the password, and we'll be printing that user dictionary. And once the user details are user profile is saved, it redirects or renders the template of setData.html file, which basically is going to capture the user details. And here, like if you see, like we are passing the user name, which will be used in the setData.html file. So right now the setData.html file is empty, but let us try to update our setData.html file using this. HTML content. So here, so set data to HTML file is going to capture more details about the user, that is first name, last name, age and the course, and we are going to submit it further to the set data functionality, which is right now not doing much thing other than returning the string. Okay, so this set data is going to accept the input from that form, so that's why like we have this method post, so it accepts that posted form, and now like we need to update that set data functionality also. So let me copy only the code. So here we are going to copy the set data function code here. So this is going to basically see if it is a post request, and if that is the case, it will capture the data from that form, that is the first name, last name, age and course. Now that we have this data, we are going to persist the data into our dictionary. The first name is going to be the same name as the user key, so we are going to use that key and save the in that key the first name, last name, age and course, and we are going to print those and the dictionary. And finally, like we are going to render the student.html file, which will basically provide show the details about that user who has basically provided those details for future reference. Okay, so here like we are going to now update the student.html file also. So right now it is empty. So in this step 9, we are going to update our student.html file. So basically it will show the user details. So you can see like it is basically a table which shows first name, last name, age and course data that we have saved for that user. Okay, now let us try to rerun our application. Let me go to the landing page, and here let us try to sign up now with let's say I am signing up with Alice user, password is dev1 sign up, don't save. So now like we have got the internal user error. So let me see that error over here. So we have not defined our request method. So basically we are using this functionality. So I need to mention this one. So in order to capture the data in the post request, like we are using the request.form. So request function, which is basically going to capture the details from that request, but we haven't like imported that module. So from Flask, so we will be doing from Flask import request. So that should be it, and let me try to rerun my application and go to my landing page. So let me load my landing page and go to sign up, and let's do again the user sign up. Now you see like it has moved to save user. So basically it has saved our user details to a dictionary. So you can see like I have printed the username, password, and I have printed the dictionary user, which consists of a key Alice, the user, and his password. Okay, and now let us try to capture more details about the user in this form, which will be further posting, so that we can capture the details about the user. Okay, so let me name it as last name as Wonder, age 23, and let's name it as course ECE and submit. Okay, you can see the user data has been captured and it has rendered that captured data using the HTML template. Okay, so this is the data that we have saved, and now we have the functional link to our index page where we can route back to our index page and do another sign up for another user. So let's say I'm going to sign up for another user, Jade dev2 sign up, and you can see like Jade user has been passed dynamically using the render template. And now we are going to, so basically like how that first name is getting captured means in student set data, that the post that we are save user post that we are doing, like we are capturing the username, password, and rendering the set data HTML file in which we are passing the user data in that render template. Okay, and that user data is being used in set data.html file. Okay, so if you see in my first name, like I am using that data that I have sent it to the template, and here the value we are going to use that value that we have sent using the render template. So that is the purpose of using that name. Okay, now let us save this Jade user. Let me give some details over here and submit. So there is one more user which we have saved, and if you go into the logs, like you will see there is one more user, Jade, whose details have been stored under the key Jade. Okay, so we have stored the password, the first name, the last name, the age, and the course. And if you see this dictionary, now we have two keys, that is Alice user and Jade user, and for these two keys like we have saved the data. Okay, now our sign up functionality is like completely ready. So we are able to sign up, save user data, and further we are going to we have saved the user like we have first saved the user profile, and then we have saved the user data, and then we have retrieved the user data using the standard HTML template. Okay, now let us go into our documentation again and try to update our validate functionality. So this functionality is basically comes into picture when a user logs in with his credentials, and that login credentials we need to validate. Okay, so this is the functionality wherein the user logs in, and here like let's say I'm going to pass Alice, the user that we have created, and dev1 which is the password for that one. But right now like we haven't updated anything on the function. So if you go into the validate function, so it just returns the login unsuccessful for whatever post that it gets. Okay, so instead of just sending this string, we need to validate the credentials. So how we are going to do that one is we are going to update our validate function using this code. So let me copy this one. So here what we are doing is basically we are checking if the method is post, and from that we are capturing the username, password, and if that user key exists, so let's say that user key exists is in that user keys database, it shows user exist, and from that user like we are going to get the password from that dictionary, and that password we are going to match it with the password that the user has provided right now, and if the password matches, it will basically allow that user. Okay, so it will basically allow that user, and here for that user we are fetching those details from the dictionary, first name, last name, age and course, and we are going to render the template again, that student.html file with those details. Okay, so let's see how it behaves now. So let me rerun my application and let me load my landing page. Let us try to sign up again, because we have rerun our application, the data has lost from the dictionary. So let me create this again, Alice dev1 sign up Alice. Let's save for more details about the user and submit. Okay, so again go to index page to sign up for user Jade, dev2 sign up. Let's give some details about this user and save. So right now we have 2 users which are saved. Now let us go into our login page and do Alice dev1, which is going to fetch the user details about that Alice, okay, which we have saved in our sign up page, sign up and the further data page. Okay, now let us log in with another user which we have created, Jade Mala. The password is dev2. So we have saved this user data also, so it has retrieved the data for us. Okay, so this is how the functionality works. So we have wired all the functionalities, but now what we are going to do is we are going to make our application from a user perspective look good. Okay, so basically we are going to apply some kind of CSS files so that it looks the look and feel gets better, so that the user can use our application again and again. Okay, so how we are going to load our CSS files is, that's where the static files come into picture. Okay, so here we are going to create our static files in this static folder. Okay, and so let's say let me create my signup.css file. So I'm just going to I have this content, so I'm just going to copy and paste. I'm not going to get into the details of the CSS files, but you can modify it as per your convenience or requirement. But here I'm going to just copy it, the signup.css file copied just now, and now I'm going to copy the w3.css file. Okay, now we have loaded our signup and CSS file, signup.css file and w3.css file. But how we are going to basically use those static files? Okay, so here also the URL building function comes into picture, which we have used it for the context, but now we are going to use it for the static files. Okay, so for that, so let's say in index.html file, we want to refer to that CSS file that we have created. Okay, so let's go into our index.html file, and this page doesn't use any CSS file yet. Okay, but now let us update it into to use the style sheet, and it will refer to that style sheet using URL_for. It will look first the static folder, and in that it will look for this file name. Okay, so this is how you can load your static files which are separately maintained from the core application. Okay, So right now we are going to use the w3.css file for index.html file, and similarly let me update it for the login and other pages also. So update for login.html file. So I'm going to use the signup.css file for login.html file. So let me update this one. Next let us update the set data HTML file. Like I'm going to use the signup CSS for this one, and for signup.html file let us use the signup.css file. And for student.html file let us use the w3.css file. So this one is already present, so let me remove it. But previously we didn't have the w3.css file, so that's why the style was not getting applied, even though the style sheet reference was there. Okay, but now that we have the w3.css file content available, so let's try to relaunch our application now, and you should see some difference in how the application looks. Okay, so let me reload my base. Here you go. Like we have applied our CSS file to our application, and now if you go to sign up functionality, like you see, like the page has drastically changed with our CSS looks. Login page, and this about is going to refer to this content. Okay, so this is how like you can build your application using Flask features. Like we have seen many features which are core features which we will actually use in order to build a very basic application. Okay, there are a lot of things that we can do with Flask further, like saving using cookies, and there are some security features which we can use, like the CORS features also, but those are very complex features that you will get to use when you are getting some big projects, building some big projects. Okay, so here also, like as I said, like we have relaunched our application, but so we need to save our data. So let me save this. Alice dev1 sign up Alice wonder 23 EC, anything we can do, anything. Okay, but Mac. Okay, we can submit it. So user data is saved over here, and we have got to this page. Okay, now let us go into our index page again and try to log in with that user, and it will show our same page which we have seen just now. Okay, so that's all that I wanted to show you in this video by using Flask Python Flask web framework, and how we can use it to build our very basic application using some of the core features. Okay, so these are some of the core features that we have used, and it will be the most of the common features that we will every time we will be using to build our application, like how to capture the request data, how to dynamically build the URLs for our functionalities, how we can load the static files, and how we can process the data. Okay, how we can template our data HTML file. So these are some basic things that we do every time with the web application. So I wanted to show you this video. Okay, thank you all. Thanks for watching this video, and you guys have a great day. Thanks.